What's good, everybody? Good morning. For the time being, just chilling until 10 o'clock as usual here. Cool. All right. Got everything set up. Oh, 1 second. Nice. All right, let's take a look. Let's go to high time frame real quick. This was that 4 hour from yesterday. 4 hour. Okay, 1 hour's here. So once again, kind of like we spoke about yesterday, I still want to see higher prices as we go into today. That'll be the objective. See if we can't get a run higher. Short-term buy side here, 15 minute. Let's see, first presented OB into the 4 hour. Oh, that's pretty nice actually, into the 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, so far everything's bullish. We're gonna wait for 10, just like yesterday. To be honest, let's see, first presented is here. We've inverted that. I would actually like to use this new week opening gap. Or is this? Yeah, the new week opening gap here. The 1 hour to the 4. What's the midpoint of that? Let's say midpoint of this new week opening gap is going to be... Okay, so kind of like yesterday, if we're going to go long, I would favor to see us run lower first, and then we'll try to pick up an entry. If we end up just kind of continuing to push higher into this buy side right away before the news, we'll kind of have to reassess. We can move this because that is yesterday's high. So for the time being, we're going to watch, right? Notice how this first presented from today is overlapped with the first presented from, let's see what this one is from, last Thursday. So right now we have two first presenteds overlapping one another. Notice how this one is actually, like, that's going to be the midpoint of this one here. Yeah, it's pretty clean. So the high of today's first presented is basically consequent encroachment of Thursday's. So to be honest, maybe that's all we'll need to get down to at 10 o'clock if we do dive lower into that, and then we can continue to run for, yeah, yesterday's high. This is midpoint of this new week opening gap. I just want to keep that there because if we're going to look for some type of sell side run first and then running higher, I'd like to see these lows get cleared as we return into the midpoint of that new week opening gap. Down to go up. Cool. All right. Well, not too much to do for the time being. What do we ideally? I missed that. I think I answered that already. Hopefully. I just got my comments pulled up. Didn't have the comments. My fault. So yeah, bullish. I'd like to see yesterday's high. Is this? Yep, yesterday's high. So that's what we had labeled in that market recap from yesterday. Yesterday's high is here, ultimately all the way up here, but I like trying to run out a high, maybe getting into 4 hours consequent encroachment. We go lower, we displace. Look at that perfect tap of first presented, getting above. So yeah, higher prices for me. Time these indicators for now. We'll just keep the first presented up here. With the volume balance. So first presented, as we said, we're already inside the 4 hour. Lower 4 hour. So this, I just have this up here in case we go bearish after 10 o'clock and we start running lows. I think we'll come back into here if we want to like pick up some of these relative equal lows in here. Equal lows right here as well. But ideally, if we're going to run lower, I'd want us to see, yeah, because notice how these wicks are right at the low of that 4 hour fair value gap here that we're already inside. So at 10 o'clock, maybe kind of get the same thing as yesterday, run out to clear some short-term sell side, get some type of reversal, and then we'll hop in on that entry. Yeah, NQ's already there, which is nice. Because if we do want to six sister it, right, then ES should be able to catch up. I am in Texas. How did you know that? What in the? This guy's a wizard. Moving different too. So right now, not in sync. NQ holding as first presented, accelerating higher. ES, right, trading lower, trying to reach into its first presented here. Let me pull up the indicator so you can see on NQ. NQ's is right here. Invert it, clean longs. That'd be pretty clean, honestly, but like we said, I like to wait for news, so I'm fine not doing nothing. So there's the high of Thursday's first presented. As we said, I'd like to see maybe today's be the target, or at least be used anyways. 5 more minutes until that news event hits, so just sitting. See if we can't get a nice little silver bullet today. Cal, I'm still curious how you knew that, brother. How you know I'm in Texas? I do have a Discord, yeah. It's a private one though. It was free, but it's just so much spam in there, so I made it private. But you don't really need it unless you want to just like talk to me. It's more so just access for me throughout the day, right? Like questions and things. And I have, I guess, concept videos as well, how I use all the concepts. I have my journal template. So just more resources outside of like the live price reading. Maybe I start putting the link in the videos. I forgot I don't even have the link up. So there's today's first presented. This may be where we hold from if we're going to see bullishness. Most recent swing low. Like, honestly, we might have... maybe we could have done that. Just a quick scout before the news event, because those relative equal highs look too clean. Anatomy of the 4 hour, we're right at that lower quadrant. That's what we're getting stuck at. So we'll probably bounce up into that. So that would have been a quick little scout. That would have been nice. We'll wait till 10 now. So if we can, kind of really the same idea, right? If we can run lower, pick up some sell side, and then we can get back above this first presented, that'll be our long. Hoping that this doesn't just hold from here. It looks like it wants to though. If we hold from here, get above new week opening gap high, 10 o'clock news can't get lower, we're gonna have to try to reassess and find a different entry, but I like the idea of getting these lows first. Seem a little too clean for me. Disrupt that and then run. These become buy side, too clean there. So at the time, I'm just watching this volume imbalance. I'm going to see if that gets left open. It does, as well as this down close candle. This down close candle runs out this low, returns into the discount, and then we close above it with a discount here. Trying to see if we're going to leave a fair value gap now as well. If we leave that perfectly with that high, that may be all we need to do actually. So like if this candle can't get lower, right? If we end up creating a fair value gap, cool. So no fair value gap, that's good for us. Let's see if we end up doing one here. Ideally for me, I just kind of want to immediately rebalance this if we're going to go lower first. This is just the midpoint. Let's look up new gap, midpoint. So we make it down into that, yeah. All right, so let's see what we get now. 1 minute, and then we should have some information. I'm gonna go bathroom before it drops, I'll be quick. All right. Perfect timing. Here we go. 20 seconds. Let us get it. I'm hoping we don't like just run this and rip, because we could maybe even turtle soup that, but we'll see what 10 o'clock does here. Dun, 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 dun. So up first, as we said, short-term buy side here. 4 hour consequent encroachment would be cool as well. First presented, we did clear that low, so maybe that may be actually what we needed to do. I want a deeper run, but we're gonna watch and see what happens now that we've cleared this short-term low that's already inside of the first presented. Right, that may be all that price had to do. If we get above this tiny new day opening gap, I think we'll just run straight to that buy side. And as we said, we'll kind of have to reassess and look for a just a different entry. But for the time being, I don't mind that. If we can like even stall here and then run lower, because now we're just building more buy side, right? Boom, boom. NQ still strong. So NQ is a lot stronger, kind of as we've been seeing, right? It's inside of another first presented. Let's look at that real quick. So first presented on NQ played nice with the OB inside of it. And now we've expanded up into this one here. Pretty ugly, honestly. Notice how we're holding the bodies at the high of this new week opening gap. That's the white area. Wicking into new day opening gap, holding new day or new week opening gap. But I think we may actually, if we leave a fair value gap here, this may be what ends up holding us. Because as we leave this first presented, if price is not going to want to just run crazy, news will pump ES to yesterday high. I don't know about that. Maybe. So kind of as you said, right, if we leave that fair value gap, that's going to be BPR. Bearish fair value gap here, passed with the bullish in the same exact spot as we left the first presented. So that might be, that's just high risk, man. It's just ugly in here. I don't really feel too comfortable taking that. But like, right, in theory, this should work. If we're going to want to maintain bullishness, we clear the short-term low inside of the first presented. Have a higher time frame, or these Thursday's first presented here as well. So yeah, just watch. If we're going to tap that and run, that may be what we're going to want to do. I think we may actually try to give this just a little entry, something small below this low to target. Oh, that may have been it. As we said, did we miss? Let's see if we get a hold here at this new day opening gap. Candle body close above, we'll run into the buy side more than likely. If we can keep wicking that though, we might have a chance. This is very ugly in here, so we're gonna go with, yeah, it's so ugly. Okay, so yeah, that fair value gap there ends up holding. Bearish from bullish, closure above new day opening gap, leaving new week opening gap. So now we'll probably run into buy side. And then we can look for yesterday's high. That held nicely. Wanted to see new week opening or the first presented. Instead, we just use that institutional order flow. And then boom, there's buy side. Okay, so now we're gonna see closure above buy side. We may get expansion, but if we just wick this and try to fall back down, I wouldn't mind that actually. Still favor longs, right? So still looking for, like for me, yesterday's high and this 4-hour consequent encroachment. In here though, we're kind of getting a little just right ugly delivery. So pretty aggressive wick actually right there. So that's more of just a run. Let's see if we want to revisit now the first presented from today. I'm watching this little area here. They have a bullish fair value gap. So if we do actually want to close above this high, I'm watching the most recent discount now, which is here. Ideally though, if we can get back under that, get lower, we'll try to pick up an entry. Retesting new week opening gap high right there. Okay, cool. I still like that fair value gap. We might try this. So kind of like we've been talking about in consolidations, these areas can be referenced more than once and still hold us. I feel like we're going to consolidate here. What I want to see actually, let's pull up what's our opening range gap? Oh, so okay. Small opening range gap will often actually lead to consolidation as well. So our opening range gap isn't that large. We've just been banging around inside of it. So yeah, I think we'll be choppy here, which means we might try this. Did we get into consequent encroachment? So we didn't hit consequent encroachment. We have a short-term swing low, and then we have the first presented. I don't mind actually. We'll try to go in here. And then we're going to target that original buy side that was up here. We'll probably just get one. Yeah, we'll just go one. We'll keep it simple. We'll go no partial, full pull. All right, so let's clean all this up. At this point, we're going to rely on first presented. So we want to see basically just for us to remain in consolidation. Right, as we say, we don't really expect price to start running crazy. If it does, we'll try to capture more of a trending move. But for the time being, I want to see us just continue to get stuck here, run back down, pick up this low. We'll try to get in. Stop loss will be below this low that's inside of today's first presented. It's also a swing low that cleared this short-term low. So yeah, I'm fine with that. And with us, right, this is just a higher risk, so, or I will say less probable entry because of these lows here and the fact that we're in consolidation. So we're entering with a little bit less risk. But I like the idea of trying to pick up this low real quick, holding from that fair value gap and then running. Yep, we are indeed. And ideally, either way, right, if we fall right through this, I feel like we should get stopped out pretty quickly too. So that's what we like. And yeah, this will be just a quick little trade. So we'll see if we close below that, we'll probably run straight into that low. We're going to try to target that buy side. As we said, we understand first percentage. Let me bring those up. First percentage are here. So our stop is below this swing low because this is today's first. So if we can hold that, that's fine. If not, if we get below that low, we'll be out. Oh, gotta put this. Okay, so they'll stop already. As you say, right? Just chopping in here. So quick stop. Fine with me. Minuscule risk. We have another opportunity. Still like bearishness or bullishness. So now as we reach for this, this is what our original objective was. So now I want to see, now that we hit that new week opening gap midpoint, right? And the low of the 4 hour, are we going to reverse from here? Or are we going to try to continue to push lower? If we close below these, to me, that's going to be a little bit more bearish in the short term. And we may be able to look for a short just to clear out some lows. So really kind of keying up on this level now that we've hit that right at the midpoint. We've cleared a lot of liquidity and we're at the low of the 4 hour. So from here, we'll wait and see. Breaking below that is nice. Once again, a wick. Yeah, so choppy. We're not expecting too much as far as clean price delivery. So we're not trying to get thrown out here. We're not trying to flip biases too much. I like that. Okay. So now, to be honest, if we were able to get back above this, I wouldn't mind giving this another opportunity. Because now we've picked up the liquidity, we've hit that midpoint, and now we have a bearish fair value gap here. Still with all these clean highs. So yeah, I don't mind trying again. We'll see if we can't get a inversion set up here potentially, and then we'll look to go long once again. What I'm watching pretty much is, right, these first presented. So we're going to wait and see what happens there. Closure above that, I would like that to try to go long again. Into that high. Two-minute fair value gap here. 1 minute's closed above. Oh no, it hasn't. Okay, so we're gonna wait. It's closed above yes, or today's first presented right here, the smaller one. I want to see if we can actually leave that open. So this will be a pretty good indication. If this volume imbalance can remain open and close above, that'll be good. Because if not, we'll probably hold this bearish and make an attempt to actually revisit the 4 hour low here. So this should give us a pretty good indication actually. Short-term low cleared. We're trying to get back above our first presented. If the bullish volume imbalance remains open, that'll actually be where our entry will come. So pretty much the same spot. We can actually go, I wouldn't mind going for today's. Give us a little more leeway and then use the 4 hour low as our area that should hold us. To then try to target previous day high, and then as we said, maybe the 4 hour up here like that. For the time being though, we're watching to see, can we leave that bullish volume imbalance open? We do. Okay, so I don't mind trying this one more time. This one's full risk entry now that we've cleared liquidity. So full risk compared to half risk as earlier. Cool. All right, now let's clear it up. So we'll look for a retracement into today's first presented here. We'll try to get long. And ride it up. Stop loss below the 4 hour here. Don't want to see that wick be violated. And we have a lot of buy side now resting up here. As we clear this high, we'll probably partial out, or not partial out, excuse me, move stop, because we only have one contract. We do want to watch this. Ideally for us, right, like I don't want to see us wick into our entry and actually hold this with bodies. That'd be like best case scenario. If we can wick into that quick, run away. We've got to put it right on the high. Wick into it, hold the body above the volume imbalance, and then invert this fair value gap right here. For the time being, we're stuck in the bearish fair value gap. So I'd want to see us, yeah, run. That's also the high the first presented. Maybe we just take that. Let's see. May have missed it right there. We have two first percentages, right? I'm just trying to get the actual one from today. So if we're going to consolidate, I'd like to see a quick run lower. But if we blast off, we'll just miss that. We'll see if we get the closure above this. Because we can still close above this, create the inversion, and then run lower, potentially. As we said, we're expecting choppy conditions, so price will tend to reference these areas more than once. So we're going to try to wait for that. If we run into buy side here, that's just unfortunate, but right, understand what we're looking for. So we've just inverted this, so this may be actually what holds. Let's see. Inversion play. The volume imbalance did hold the bodies as we wanted to see. I was hoping that this candle could have wicked another two handles, however. I was kind of wanting to see something like this. Long wick, respect it. But it looks like instead we just hold the high of the actual first presented from Thursday. And now we've closed above the bearish fair value gap and the new day opening gap. So I'd actually watch and see. New day opening gap may hold, accelerate us. It's also the high of the new week opening gap. See, I may have missed this entry. We'll keep following it. If we run out buy side here, honestly, if we run this buy side and wick, come back down, I might still leave that and think we're just going to keep causing max chaos here. Bullish fair value gap as we leave that. Ooh, okay. So right now we're creating discounts, right, as we're breaking through premiums. Those will often hold us. As we leave this, fair value gap gets created, so now I'm watching that. Just following it. Well, I'm gonna leave my entry where it is. If we don't get it, that's okay. We can follow it all the way. If we want to respect these areas, that's fine. We'll run into buy side. There's our inversion play. Like if you want the inversion play, right, you would obviously just use the high of it and then the low here to target the 4 hour. I'm banking on the fact that we want to just consolidate a little bit more. Maybe not, we'll see. There's a touch of that inversion. So from here, we'll probably run if we're going to remain bullish. Quick tap, expansion through the buy side. So far we're holding that. Okay. We've hit the low of that perfectly. So to me, if we're going to hit the low of it perfectly, close above, it's rebalanced. If we're going to retest it, we want to see, right, consequent encroachment should probably hold it next. If anything, the high should hold it. Yes, we can't even get into consequent encroachment. So that's kind of what we would expect. So to me, I think we might just blast off here. If we can get through this low, that'll be good. But for the time being, this is pretty bullish here. And if we're going to follow true order flow, the actual midpoint of this little fair value gap has no need to get retested. Higher time frame wicks. The 5 minutes just closed above with the volume imbalance. So I think we missed this entry here actually. Right, look at the 5 minute. So 5 minutes closed above our new week opening gap with the bullish volume imbalance. See, more than likely we're going to run through this. I want to see how this closes. A lot of wicks in here. If we keep wicking, we'll still have a chance. If we can close above that wick with displacement, then we still may have another chance. Dun, dun, dun. Another buy side run. Notice how it's always fickle, right? All these buy side runs are very fickle. So it's just a wick. As soon as we hit that, we're getting sensitive reactions. 48 is the entry. Yep, right there, right? As we said, as you leave the inversion with the bullish fair value gap, that's going to be what holds us. Easy. There's buy side, as we said. Wait, no closure above. So yeah, notice anytime we've cleared a high, starting all the way from this morning, wick. Clear a high, wick. Clear a high, wick. So we'll leave this because, as we said, in consolidations, we can reference multiple areas and continue to hold. So we're going to kind of go with the idea that this is a protected low. The 4-hour low is protected and we want to continue to push higher. We will follow, however. So now if we're going to actually run bullish, right, follow all the discounts because right now they're respecting. So we're going to continue to follow those until they stop being respected. Volume imbalance first, bullish fair value gap in the inversion. Now a little 1 minute. Had this candle closed above this high, I'd be a lot more confident in this holding us. Still has a chance of holding us, but the fact that we only wick this means that we may actually want to run back through this fair value gap and create a little short-term inversion. So we'll see. If we want to confirm that we're going to remain bullish, this fair value gap will probably hold us, and then we'll actually close above the buy side. That's right here. And then we can look for that continued expansion into the 4-hour consequent encroachment. But as far as our entry down here, may have missed it. We'll see. Oh. So I don't mind that. Try to retest today's first presented. If not, we'll try to maybe even, let's see, new wick opening gap. Let's see what we get. SMT right now at the highs, so NQ can't get into the high that it already created, while ES has just wiped it. Which is why I'm also thinking, right, maybe we had a little short-term retracement back down. Yeah, pretty choppy this morning. So once again, consolidating. Pretty much been the flavor of price the past few weeks. But that's all right, we understand what we're looking for. That right there, closure above the down close candle after holding the discount. So now I'm watching to see as we return into this candlestick, the body of it, right? Is that gonna offer us support? It should, if we're gonna close above this. So that's what my new attention goes to. As we said, all discounts are holding now. Starting from the volume imbalance, we invert that, we hold, should run. Once again, running highs. Let's see if it's true closure above. Yes, sir. Into this 4-hour here. Buy side as well. So this, as we said, if we're going to look for confirmation, continuation, we want to see candle bodies closing above areas of liquidity. Wicking through that is more just that, right? A liquidity stop, grabbing that liquidity. True closures above are more of the confirmation that we can run. Look how aggressive we're wicking. So we get our first candlestick to actually close above a swing point. But you'll notice that it doesn't close above this swing point. So we're just following it, right? As we said, it's going to be a high resistance liquidity run, but we should continue to run. You can trade it. Like, there's a few entries there. Entry here, entry here. That's the beauty of these concepts. Once you get proficient with them, it's easy to follow price. So now, right, like this down close candle, notice that we create, what do we create right here as we leave that down close candle? A fair value gap. So as I said, I'm gonna watch that area and see what happens. But even then, once again, every time we're running a high, we're unable to actually close above. So this is what we call, right, those high resistance liquidity runs, where it's really struggling to get up and through and continue to remain bullish. However, my attention, as we said, now goes to this down close candle. This down close candle returns into a discount, hits the breaker, and then moves higher, leaving a fair value gap aligned with its opening price. So I'd want to see if that is going to or hold us anyways, and then continue to run buy side. But for the time being, just high resistance runs. That's funny to see. Yeah, every time we've hit it. So like right there, right, another aggressive entry if you wanted to. If we're going to get all the way up here, 4-hour. We've hit previous day's high, so that's why we're being a little wary, because now we've just cleared yesterday's high. So this little bit more risky, because for us to run higher, we need to maintain bullishness. If we want to retrace back into the range after clearing yesterday's high, this will fall. But I think we'll hold this, and it's just going to be stair-stepping, continuing to get right above these areas. Closure above previous day high, we should get 4-hour consequent encroachment pretty easy. Yep, so far that holds nicely. So really, honestly, real clean delivery. Very clean here. Just missed where we were trying to get in. Just wanted a deeper retracement for us. I'm just trying to use the actual midpoint instead of the high of it, but the high gets held, so. I like that though. Always nice to see that delivery. Or as we said, trading right into what we expected. Midpoint, clearing the liquidity. 4-hour holds us. Acceleration higher. Closure above previous day's high. Then we look for expansion. NQ still unable to get its high. So NQ struggling to clear its high, which is another reason, right, we're maybe waiting to see some type of short-term reversal. So NQ can't get its high that it's already put in. It's also inside of a first presented. So it's struggling right here, right, opposed to ES. So if we can actually break lower, we may get some type of short-term setup. We're going to move this for now. Yeah, no need to chase. Right, these setups form every single day. That's why we no longer have FOMO or anything like that. We know exactly what we're looking for. We know it's going to pan out. We know it forms every single day. And that's really, right, so that's like a great feeling to have. Just peace. Being able to be at peace with just watching price. And that really only comes after extended periods of time of just watching these candlesticks deliver. So still same idea. We're watching that OB that's right here. Because to me, this is the last down close candle before we accelerated through all these highs. So if we can kind of invert that, right, that becomes a potential inversion, especially because, as we said, there is a very small fair value gap right here that has been holding us. So we could almost follow that, like if we close below this, just to see if we'll create a short-term little sell-off, maybe into first presented again like that. But yep, once again, respecting. So yeah, just holding that level beautifully. I mean, look at the delivery. Perfect delivery, right? Can't get more perfect than that. Right into its close. Bearish volume balance. So now notice where the bearish volume balance forms. The high of it is what? The high of the fair value gap. The low of it is the low, not random. So if this closes in and then we remain bullish, I think we will be able to run into this 4-hour up here. For the time being, I think we need to get above previous day high, however. So closure above yesterday's high, to me, would indicate the ability to continue to push. Because for the time being, still getting stuck here. Right, NQ unable to get its high. Pretty good so far. Choppy, but right, we know what we're looking for. We expected these lows to get cleared as price hit the new week opening gap midpoint and then look for the reversal. I want to see 4-hour midpoint is what our objective is. But for the time being, we're kind of just following price now and seeing what's taking place. Cool, retracement. So as we said, closure below. Let's see. Aggressive wick. Yeah, so we're just holding that. We're playing in there. I want to see if we don't close. Oh, another wick. That one actually hit this fair. Oh, no, it didn't, did it? Nope, nope, nope. So from here, that may be all we needed to do. Short-term lows cleared. Now we watch and see expansion. We tried one here off of first presented. Quick stop out, however. And then we tried here. We tried to use the first presented. We just didn't get the entry. Right, as we left it, we tried to get in on that first presented. Instead, we just hold the high of this one from Thursday. So unfortunate, missed that. So for us, nothing yet. Just waiting to see. Like at this point, I'd like to go, as we said, we're clearing that low. So maybe we hit previous day's high again. If they don't dump it at 1050, I'm going to touch. I like that. Close the chart. Because we understand we're just consolidating at yesterday's high. That's all we're doing now. We've just cleared that level, so right, price will tend to kind of consolidate once we clear daily swing points. Which is why, honestly, I wouldn't mind going, let's see. Oh yeah, that's expansion. So I was gonna say, I wouldn't mind trying to get a short-term retracement, but we've closed above now. So honestly, if we leave a fair value gap here, that may be what holds us. I want to see if we leave some type of fair value gap now that we've cleared this high. I'm also watching to see if this previous day's high hold this candlestick's body. Do you share any social media or still keeping a misery? I don't know what that means, Hollow. Explain more. Do you share? I do have social media. I guess I'm not sure what keeping a misery is. So we may leave a fair value gap there. Okay. Small, we did end up closing, as I said. I'm waiting to see, like, if we leave a fair value gap and close above this previous day high, to me, that fair value gap will probably want to be used for bullishness. We closed right on that. Look at that. That's just perfect once again. Perfect delivery. So to me, closing on it. I still want another candle above. Close above. Mystery. Oh, maybe mystery, yeah. Oh, my real. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I just have this. The alias, I guess you'd say. Oh, so we do. Yep, we ended up using that perfectly. So I think we do get into here. We have a new discount in the form. Let me see here. I'm just trying to figure out how we can get involved in this, right? We have a 2-minute down close candle. Previous day's high should hold us, to be honest. We have a fair value gap in here. This swing low should be protected. I think we'll try 1 to 2 here. Stop would be under this swing low, okay? Because right, the OB that we expected to hold holds us, and this swing low gets created as we clear liquidity. So now we have a fair value gap, and we've closed above previous day's highs twice. So I don't mind trying again to get for the 4-hour up here. Still risky. We didn't get. Did we get a 2-minute? I want a higher time frame to close above this, to be honest, before we try to get in on this. Like a 5. This will be the 5. Okay, so my only worry is we may use the high of this now. Okay, if we're going to maintain bullishness, we watch the next down close candle here because it's created perfectly aligned with previous day high. Right, those are going to be overlapping PD arrays. So now price, if we want to run straight bullish, yep, we're going to probably use that. I wouldn't mind trying to get just a quick retracement, but maybe not. Stop loss right below. Oh, I already answered that thing. My fault. Is that 1010 good entry? 1010. What's 1010? Oh yeah, that would have been textbook right here. Right. That's where we tried to enter. We were going to use today's first presented, so we just got a little bit too precise. Right. Instead, we hold the actual high of it here. But now I'd like to see us, yeah, we may actually hold that. The 5-minute has just closed above. So to me, that's confirmation that we can run higher. Now, we'll see if we can't get a slight retracement into this wick. I don't want to see this, and I don't want to see, or I guess we can keep that because our stop loss is below that low. And then we're reaching for the 4 hours consequent encroachment. Our stop loss is also kind of above, right? Let me bring up that midpoint of the 4 hour. So for me, I'm basically saying I don't want to see price revisit the 4 hours quarter level, and I'd want to use previous day high instead if we get back to the quarter level stop out. And then from there, we'll probably just call it. Give it one more chance, maybe we'll see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, NQ struggling still. As we said, we're kind of out of sync this morning, so not putting too much emphasis into that because, right, buy side and sell side in NQ. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe NQ wants to get previous day's high as well. Revisit it. Could easily blast off right through this though. Like if we get above this first presented, I think we'll be able to run. But we're on ES, so let's see. Revisiting, as we said, I don't want to see us, we may hit that perfectly. I want a little bit of a deeper retracement into the fair value gap itself. So there's the perfect delivery into previous day high. As we said, we're looking for just maybe a slight wick into the fair value gap here. I mean, that's actually perfect, right? That's perfect. Bearish volume imbalance, back to back, 1, 2. We'll see if that's all price wanted to do. Perfect into previous day high before a run higher. If we end up closing this in, that's maybe all we had to do there. As we said, I want to see it just a little bit, paint outside the lines, just a little bit. Try to get us a wick into that volume imbalance here. 5-minute down close candle. 2-minute fair value gap as well. So yeah, I don't mind that actually. 15-minute potential fair value gap. So let's see what we get here. YM, I can't lie, I have never looked at YM, brother. I'm a YM hater. It just moves crazy. ES is my baby. Once again, we should be wrong or right quickly, right? If we fall right through previous day's high and like close below these areas, in my mind, we should just run back down, potentially into new week opening gap or first presented, which at that point, right, that'll be 2 losses. As we said, we allow up to really, I'd say 3 trades depending on risk percentage. So we went full risk here. We went half risk earlier, which would allow for 1 more half risk to potentially get us back to break even if we get stopped. For us, now that we've wicked this, what I'd want to see is the candle body try to stay above the fair value gap itself. Right, wicking into the lower will be, if we can maintain the body here, that'll be good. If we close below, more than likely, I think we'll come back down for this low. But if we can keep this low intact and hold the fair value gap, and then we would need to see price actually get back above previous day's high. So if we keep wandering lower, not a good sign, right? We'd want to see this candlestick make an attempt to revisit yesterday's high and then actually make an attempt to close above it, because then we may be able to use that as support to where if we just keep pushing lower, especially if we close below the fair value gap here, that's just more bearish, as we said. So we'll see. Once we're in, we just commit. Right, no need to be over analyzing. As you said, 2-minute as well. We held the 2-minute. Retesting the down close candle. Stop loss below this low should be protected if we're going to hold here. So another wick. Let's see, we're going to close below. So that and the volume imbalance. So seeing something like that, right, that to me more than likely means we're going to come for this low. Closure below the fair value gap, opening with now a premium, going opposing to what we'd want to see. Now that we retest the OB, we would really need to hold its midpoint or its low, because if we can't do that, this low here is going to be the target. Now we've hit the low perfectly. So as we said, this would really be all I'd want to see. We would need to make an attempt to try to close in this volume imbalance and really get back above this fair value gap, because if not, we'll probably just slide back down, come back down into this new week opening gap, and then at that point we're just going to wait, because right, we're just choppy in here. Like, let's kind of zoom out a little bit real quick. Right, pretty ugly delivery, going higher slowly. Right, 1 minute, lot of wicks. Let's hide everything. Lot of wicks. Right, very fickle delivery in here. So we'll wait for 10:50, and then we'll try to do something then, if we get stopped, of course, right? So we do put that low in place. So I would need to see immediate expansion higher, because if we just keep going lower, we're going to run out that low. But now that we've hit this perfectly, I would need to see the high of this hold us and make an attempt. We've made no attempt to try to retrace. Now we have, notice, 1, 2, 3, volume imbalance, bearish premiums, and a bearish fair value gap. So a lot of premiums are getting built in here. So for us to fill any type of way, we would need to see a quick expansion right through these premiums, right? We wouldn't want to see this hold. So we've retested previous day high. We don't want price to get stuck right there. If it does, I think we've come back down into this low. So let's wait and see. Closure above previous day's high is what we need to see. So right now we're getting stuck right at that. Right, that's perfect. Closure above. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah. Because right, what else was that? That was that bearish premium we were talking about. So seeing that to me, terrible. We're just going to put stop below this low. If we take out this low, we'll probably take out this low. We can cut some risk from the marketplace. So we are able to get above the volume imbalance. Okay, so now we just want to see continued bullishness. But as we said, the fact that we held the bearish fair value gap and yesterday's high, to me, that's bearish. We make an aggressive move into it. We get halted in our tracks, and then we open with a bearish volume imbalance. That's just not a good sign, because now we're probably going to want to fall back over on ourselves and attack these lows. We would need to hold this reclaimed bullish fair value gap that we entered on, and then invert the bearish. Closure above previous day high, use previous day high as support, make an attempt to clear volume imbalances, and then reach for buy side here, and then maybe ultimately up here, but that's looking a little aggressive now. Let's see. NQ was able to clear some lows. So I do like that because we have SMT here now. This low versus this low. Whereas, right, that's this low in ES. So the protected low, that's what we wanted to see. We've actually closed above yesterday's high, and now we open with a bullish volume imbalance. So opposing, I'd want to see the bullish volume imbalance stay open. I want to see us and use this as our inversion. Continue to use previous day's high support, keep the bullish volume imbalance open, closing above these volume imbalances over here on the left, right? That's kind of what's causing me hesitation and worry, is that we have these volume imbalances here and this volume imbalance that's here, and that's what we're stuck at. So these are going to be pretty key areas. So we'll see if we can't continue to push up and through these. For me to feel comfortable, we would really need to see this bullish volume imbalance remain open. If it closes in on itself, as we said, that's just not a good sign. We may come back down and get stopped out. We were looking for a continuation play, but as we spoke about, when we're clearing previous day levels, if we're not going to continue to push into higher objectives, we're just going to consolidate around that old high. And that's exactly what's taking place. Right? We clear it, we hit it once, we get above it, we come back down below it, we hit it again. So if we're just going to keep bouncing back and forth in here, that's why I'm saying we'll just kind of wait, sit on our hands for a little bit. I mean, my guess, and kind of the thing we've been saying the past few weeks, is that it's just, we're in an area of uncertainty as far as like global economics and the world. Whatever your feelings are on Trump, I don't think anyone would say he's not like a character. So he talks a lot, he says a lot of things. And he's kind of, I guess we'll say, other people very uncertain of what he's going to do next, which just creates uncertainty in the marketplace as well. Which just leads to fickle movement, right? A lot of consolidations. Even though like we have been going higher, it's just high resistance. So we've been remaining bullish, but it's just a lot of consolidation before that. Right? Add to the fact that for today, how could we tell? Well, we had a very small opening range gap. Right, very small opening range gap tends to lead us into consolidations. Pair that with the fact that we have new day opening gap, new week opening gap first presented. So we have a lot of built-in PD arrays in one area, also leading to consolidation. So there's ways to tell. Oops. And at this point, so I do like that, right? We're able to leave these volume imbalances. I need to see previous day high hold us now. We got above it once. If we're going to come back down below it and make an attempt to get above it again, this needs to be the actual true move that pushes us. To be honest, with how we're moving to, I might just, if we can get this high, what's that? So I like an ends model 5 handles potentially. We'll see. We'll see what we do if we can get into this. No guarantee we even do, right? We can, as we say, consolidate and easily wipe out this low, but for the time being, I want to see this inversion hold. I want to see yesterday's high hold. Back down. Okay, so yeah, just choppy. And NQ, especially because NQ is stuck right here, right? This is a huge wall in NQ right now. This first presented. If NQ could clear that, that'd be nice. Let's take a look at the dollar. We don't do that too much anymore. So dollar, usually they'll move opposingly. If dollar's going lower, we're going to see indices rise. So actually, if the dollar can't fall out of bed here, that wouldn't be too bad. If NQ can accelerate, let ES accelerate. Da, 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 da. BPR, yep, right, BPR as well. And because we've hit yesterday's high, you guys are both correct, right? As we've been saying, when we are going to run into just a lot of PD arrays stacked over one another, we run into consolidation. And then pair that with the fact that all these PD arrays are at basically yesterday's high, that's going to create more consolidation. So now if we're not going to continue to accelerate and trend, then consolidation at previous day high would take place. For the time being though, we're holding where we expect to hold. As long as we can stay above previous day high, I think we'll be okay, but right, we're really starting to compress here. That's just ugly. Very, very ugly, but we commit. Right, this is kind of an instance where we understand we're in choppy conditions. We understand it's high resistance. We have our higher time frame reference points. So now that we've already been entered, kind of just got to commit to the idea. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. 1042, so maybe 1050 if we're going to keep chopping until 1050. I don't like that. So now we're trying to make a bearish volume balance below previous day high. I want that to get closed in. I don't want to see the candlestick hit this level and then close below the bearish fair value gap, because now we're going to leave a bearish volume imbalance and we're going to reclaim this as a bearish fair value gap. So for me to feel comfortable in this, we need to close this bullish volume or this bearish volume imbalance with this candlestick here, getting back above previous day high and continuing to try to use that as support. Cool, perfect. Okay, so now closure above, as we said, we're smashing into volume imbalances. We are not able to get above this volume imbalance. I need to see price get above that and then make an attempt to get above this. Yes, okay, so we're touching that. I need to make an attempt to get above that. I don't want to see price hold that. I definitely don't want to see price close back below this volume imbalance. So that's fine. If we're going to hit this, I would want to see price tap this volume imbalance and now expand through this one here, or at least test it. So now that we've hit this, we can get the low if we want, but ideally the high holds, we push up and through this one. Let's see. There is a hidden volume imbalance in here now as well, so if we do come back down into that, we have to watch for that. Will this candlestick close and will this candlestick opened? For me though, I want this one that we've just inverted to hold. So we can wick lower, but I want to see bodies respect that. We'll see what happens. Because if not, right, short-term high cleared. What do we do after short-term highs are cleared and consolidations? We come back down for lows. So if we're just going to keep chopping in here, I think we come back down, which is why I would prefer to see price make an attempt to run now. Cool, so we hold that. That's what we want to see. I want to see a body close above this swing point. Nope, unable to. We held that though, so that's what we want to see. So we still want to see bodies continuing to respect this one. And now, as we said, retest this, close above it. We don't want to see price tap that, hold its high, and close back below this volume imbalance. To me, that'd be a bad sign. So we're just continuing to follow this order flow. And this is really what I do all the time. Right, I just don't talk out loud. I'm doing that so you guys can kind of understand as well. Nice, beautiful. So I think we will, just because we're hideous, we're going to go 5 handle ends model, which would get us 59.75. Maybe a round number. Perfect. Okay, so as we said, we want to see this respect. We want to see price make an attempt to get above the volume imbalance and attack the buy side, which if we can, we should be able to continue to push. Ooh, no. This volume imbalance needs to hold us. We've just closed above. Quick down movement into the volume imbalance. Same idea. How this one held us as we invert it. I want to see this one hold us as we invert. Attack that buy side. Get us out of this trade here. For the time being, I don't want to take a full stop now that we're already this close, so we're going to cut risk. Once again, allowing us for a possible another entry if we get, right, basically folded on and price comes all the way back down to stop us out. I am slightly worried that we may get like a quick run of this and then a quick retracement. So we may not get our exit, but let's see. We need to see this volume bounce hold the body. Volume bounce needs to hold the body. If anything, this one here. If we get back below yesterday's low and close below that, I think we get stopped. So that's kind of my line in the sand while using these other PD arrays as our hopeful support. So far that's good. I want to see this bullish volume bounce stay open. It looks like it's going to close. Unfortunate. So it does close. We don't like that. Volume bounce is still holding, however, so we can continue to trust. See if we can't get a quick run into that buy side. NQ running out of high. Dollar going lower. So let's get a quick spike here in ES. If we can get that quick run up, we should be able to clear buy side. If we clear buy side and don't take our TP, right? Like if we get a quick wick, I'm probably going to go break even, honestly. And then I'll just eat the break even if we get there. Because we could easily tap this and reject aggressively. Oh my, just like that. Okay, so we need to get above that. It's exactly what we were worried about. Short-term high here. So pick up a short-term high, create equal highs, but I think we can get that. Let's just get one handle above that, right? We're committed to the idea, so nice. Perfect. That's beautiful. Let's get a swing high here. Now I want to see price break. Now I want this to be a swing high, retrace back into the range. Invert this, reclaim it bearish, reclaim this bearish, get below previous day low, come back down. Yep. Invert it. Oh, no swing high exit. Don't do it. Don't do it. You stay right there. Yeah, you hold that buy side. Chef's kiss. All right, we're good then. We're done for the day. Yeah, now we can run that high. So we'll probably run this high out. As we said, this is the objective up here. I think we get 4-hour consequent encroachment. It's just high resistance, so we don't need to push for all that. That's crazy. But cool. We'll do a quick little recap real quick. Let's move to 4-hour. So first entry, this was stupid, to be honest. Because, yeah, that was just stupid. We came in with the idea that new week opening gap midpoint had to be traded into, and these equal lows should have been cleared. So for that, that's just a bad entry on my part. Not following my own analysis, right? We expected new week opening gap midpoint and these equal lows to be cleared. We should have waited for that. Once we get that, from there on, it's really textbook delivery. So we clear the equal lows. We then accelerate back above first presented. We come into today's first presented, close above it, leaving a volume imbalance, creating a discount aligned with another discount. That volume imbalance holds perfectly. We accelerate up above this bearish fair value gap. So now we've created an inversion as we leave a new week opening gap and a bullish fair value gap. So that right there was actually an A+ setup, the inversion play. We don't take that one, we miss that one, right? Price continues to run. We understand we're still bullish. There's many opportunities to enter. We're not worried. So now, same idea. We leave a new week opening gap with another bullish fair value gap that holds us. You'll notice that this becomes our order block, and that's what we key. Right, we say price should not come below this, especially because we're above a new week opening gap. If we're bullish, this order block holds. Once, twice, 3, 4 times, this candlestick runs out the low, then we accelerate. Running out the low into this new week opening gap, that to me is what signifies this as a protected low. So once we see this protected low get put in place, we'll just label that. Protected low gets put in place. Now we have an area to enter. Right, we could have used that. We just went with low-hanging fruit, which was the actual fair value gap. So we entered on the fair value gap with our stop below the protected low, understanding the OB's body should hold us. Look at that, perfect delivery into the low. Then we get the acceleration. And then from there, as we said, we just wanted to see all the premiums that were created on the way down. We want price to start trading through those. So first, the bearish fair value gap, we get above it. Next, the volume imbalance, we get above it here. next to this volume balance, we get above it here, and then ultimately buy side. And right, look what we said. As we look at these here on the left, what we often will expect is that if we're going to run through bearish premiums, we are going to hesitate there. So hesitation is okay, right? That's why we see, notice that the first time we tap all of these, so the first time that we tap this fair value gap, we close inside of it, hesitation. Then we close above. First time we tap the volume imbalance, right? We close inside of it, hesitation. Then we finally close above here. First time we tapped this one, we actually did trade right through that. So that was nice to see. And you can also expect, right, when we are trading through premiums after hesitating, those become areas of support, which is exactly why we know exactly what we're looking for. I hope you, hey, thanks, Hollow. I appreciate that, man. I ain't gonna lie, I just love this stuff, bro. I've spent easily 10,000 hours just staring at these candlesticks print over and over and over and over. So it's almost just like a book that I've read before, right? It's always just gonna do the same things. And now that I'm learning the code, it's actually even crazier because I understand like the if-then statements, right? Of like, enable for price to go here, it's going to have to do specific things because that's how it's coded into the algorithm. And when I say algorithm, right, I'm not referencing like, I guess, how do I want to explain it? The fact that these candlesticks are moving on this screen in general, and those that right have coded probably understand it. The actual movements of these have to be coded into the program of TradingView, right? So even if price like wants to get, as we said, probably here, enable for price to get here, it's going to do specific things along the way just because it's going to have to do that, right? It's going to have to fill in these areas of inefficiency or order blocks or PD arrays. And that's really why ICT's concepts are more of a language, right? They're a language that lets you see what the market's going to do and be able to read it. Do you think the fills its 4 hours and Q? So that's cool. So beautiful. That's midpoint. That's what we wanted. We can go over to NQ and see NQ relative to its 4 hour. Oh yeah, I would say that. I mean, I'm bullish, right? So I think we get through this. So everything, let's do like this, right? Everything that we've been talking about on that 1 minute, how when we create, sorry, let me hide this, right? So as we create like these premiums, we want to get above these premiums and use them as support on that 4 hours. It's really the same thing. So yeah, we have premiums here and here, but what I would expect is price to maybe hesitate and then eventually push up and through those premiums, using them now as new discounts to run out a high. So in the long term, right, I still expect higher prices, which is why I'm just favoring longs for the time being until we really show us that like bearishness is in. For me, as long as we stay above this daily fair value gap right here, let's kind of clear all this up. As long as we remain above this, I say that we stay bullish, right? We keep running here. And then of course, right, daily swing point here, especially because we bring up the midpoint of this wick. We probably hit it. Let's see on a daily. Oh, no, we haven't. So that's a good objective right there. We should get midpoint of that daily candlestick's wick. There we go. We just got a new target. We should get that. As far as NQ, let's do NQ. Sorry. Same idea. Let's go daily real quick. Just get higher time frame key areas. So daily. We go daily midpoint wick, which we probably hit already. Nope. So cool. Upward objective there as well. And then of course, right, the swing point too. 4 hour that aligns with the 4 hour pretty nicely. I want to see the 4 hour bullish actually inversion. Let's see what that's like. Yeah, right there. Okay. 4 hour. 1 hour. Look at that. Midpoint of the wick. Relative equal highs as well. And we're above. Oh, okay. So honestly, this first presented should hold us. You could almost just go like that. If we're going to maintain bullishness. Only issue is you have to be wary. 4 hour, we've hit the consequent encroachment perfectly. But as we said, if we're expecting bullishness, we're going to hesitate at premiums, and then eventually we should trade through those. I can't believe I did that. That was just a dumb mistake. Quite literally don't follow your own analysis, goofy. What's the 4 hour that we had up here real quick? We'll hang out till 11, but as we said, we're done for the day. So at this point, we're just kind of reading price. Nope, 61, right? It's the midpoint of that 4 hours, so it's going to be a key area. If we get above that, especially now that we've created this candlestick here, if we close above this midpoint, this candlestick should hold us. Protected low would be here. Mitigation block, low, high, higher low. Displacement through the high. Yeah, mitigation block. But now we're going to see closure above 4 hours, consequent encroachment. With the fair value gap, that'd be bullish. So we can anticipate that this, right, if we're going to close above this 4 hour, this small fair value gap right here should stay open. That'll make this an OB. That should be the protected low right there. And then we can get into that midpoint on the daily that we were talking about. Let's just kind of follow that little setup. So we do close above. Once again, notice when we close or hit the high, it's only a wick. The body did close on that, so that is pretty bullish, however. Right, showing more of a willingness to run higher. We left that fair value gap right where we would expect. So yeah, to me, if we're going to come back down into this down close candle, it should hold us actually. Get us up into this area. Let's follow that. We'll be right back. The shop our ranks. Hey, shop our rank. Hey. So we don't even we're not even gonna get back into that retracement. Instead, we use the midpoint of it as support. And there's that wick. Look at the delivery. Oh my gosh. Just kissed it. I just love seeing that. And that's why I love trading. It's just satisfying. Like, right, that's not random. Like, I don't get how people could sit here and argue against these things. Like, you're telling me price just randomly stopped at this one predetermined area in price? No. This is the midpoint of the daily wick. All right, so this huge wick, high to low, that's the midpoint of it. and we get perfect delivery into it. So I'd kind of watch, notice how many volume imbalances in a row. 1, 2, 3. Closure above that midpoint, we may be able to continue to expand into, I would look for, let's bring the anatomy of this fair value gap up real quick. So we go high to low, you bring down the levels. Damn, that was actually a clean entry. We could have actually stacked all the way up and through there. Oh well. Yeah, for above this, I would expect closure above this midpoint. We reach into the quarter level here, and then maybe the high. As we said, we really expect this high. I don't know if we get that today, maybe, we'll see. What time is it? 11:02. We'll chill till 11:10. Call it a morning. No more trades for us, but we'll kind of follow price. So what we can't, let's say anticipate something. If we were to close above this level and we left a discount in there, that's more confirmation that we can use that to chart along. But let's see what price does. So if this candlestick closes above, it does. And then this candlestick cannot come back down in here and we end up leaving a fair value gap like this. It would honestly be like right here. Oh, especially if we left at the midpoint. If we create a fair value gap like this, that'd be a good trade. Let's see what happens. Because at that midpoint would be exactly the midpoint of the daily wick. Looks like we're just gonna blast off though. All right, then watch out for here. So we do lose that fair value gap. Okay, so yeah, honestly, I would expect that now to hold us. Right, we're just following discounts. And we're in a rush, so if we're gonna be in a rush to reach this by 11:10, most recent discount will hold us. Oh, where'd the midpoint go? Did I delete it? What the? Oh, oh, there it is. Yeah, so let's watch this now. As we trade into this fair value gap, let's see what happens. Just continuing to follow that order flow. I'd want to see pretty much the midpoint. So there's midpoint, perfect touch. Let's see what happens. Closure below that, displacement below it. Potential inversion play actually. But for the time being, perfect delivery into its low. Body holds, consequent encroachment. I'm gonna watch and see does the high of this offer resistance. It did real quick, and now we're back in midpoint. If high offers resistance and we close below, maybe, but if we want to maintain bullishness, that midpoint should hold. This midpoint is the daily wick. Daily wick. Let me clear all this. All right, so the most recent swing point, you take the wick, you take the midpoint, you drag out the midpoint. We created a fair value gap perfectly aligned with it as we anticipated. So to me, that means that we should run a high. Right, as we said, it's just a story. Price continues to do things over and over. So when price closes above midpoints of daily wicks, leaving discounts in this place, those discounts will often hold us and continue to accelerate us. That's so beautiful. So now, as we said, the objective would become, if we don't want to, we may consolidate here, but if we're going to maintain this bullish run, we're going to get at least into, got to bring up that 4 hour again, sorry. The 4 hours upper quadrant. So then we could bring this and then midpoint. So that would be our next objective there. So we'll watch for that. And as we said, if we're going to try to get there by 11:10, that's why this discount will hold, because we're going to maintain bullishness. If we close above this down close candle, I would expect that to now hold us as well. We have to close above it though. Notice we can't get above it. We've wicked above it. Closure above will indicate its willingness to be used. If not, we may just continue to consolidate around this midpoint here. If I wanted to long to 4-hour NQ, let's go to NQ then. For me, if I'm trying to long NQ right now, we do have a fair value gap there, but we have one here. I would almost try to enter on the first presented here. So I would want to see an actual deeper retracement, understanding that we may hold from this 5-minute. And if we did, I would just miss it and I'd be okay missing that trade. Because I would actually favor a short-term retracement. Look at, right, we have relative equal lows right here. So pick up those lows, hold the first presented, and then attack the high here. That would be my objective. If I was going to actually use the 5-minute, let's say, like I was going to go in with a risk entry, my stop would be below the candle that creates the 5-minute like this, using its midpoint to target that wick. So two different possible entries, right? This would be the aggressive one. Most recent premium or discount candlestick that creates it should be protected. So you can enter like this to target here. Especially because it's also a 1-minute. But I like the fact trying to pick up some sell side first, just because we've been right from this, from the most recent leg low to high, we really haven't had any pullbacks. We create the low, we create a higher 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 low. So we finally did clear that one. But I'd like to try to pick up these equal lows, hitting that discount and then running. Here's the 5. I would really use the 1 within the 5. Tapping that consequent encroachment of the 5 again. Could maybe come for that high. Okay, so yeah, it looks like that actually will hold us. Nice. I'd watch this volume or the fair value gap right here. If we're going to come back down to the first presented, this probably will hold us. If we can invert that, we should be able to run into its high. So as I said, this would be a trade where I'd probably miss it. If you took the long, that's valid, and it'll probably run. But for me, I would have just liked to wait for down here. See what ES is up to. ES. Quick run lower, gets back above. So maybe consolidation here now. What time is it? 11:10. Okay. Yeah, I'm content with that. I'm calling it a day. Well, let's see if we want to get actually this high real quick. Off of the 1 minute and the 5 minute. Let's see if we get, do I trade my own money? I have an options account that's my own, but for like futures trading, I do prop firm. The risk to reward is just so clean, especially if you know what you're doing. It could be hard if you're like newer because the rules are kind of ridiculous, but it's hard to beat the leverage. Top Step, yeah, I would say Top Step's probably the easiest to get paid out. I'm trying MyForex funds right now. I heard there, or my funded futures. MyForex, that's the OG. But I've had a few Top Step accounts that I milked out, and then once I got to the 30 days, just closed them completely. I like options trading. That's kind of how I started, honestly. Like when I first ever got into just looking at charts and trading in general, it was options. And then I found ICT, and then I moved into like futures and forex. But options was like the first experience I had, so I've always been interested in that. And to be honest, the way that you can like multiply money in options if you're on side is crazy. So as we said, we're going to hold from that bearish fair value gap. I want to see if we get back into, what time is it? No, I'm trying to go. I think we just chop around here. I've been using ICT concepts for 2018. What did we say? 6 years. I found him late 2018. Didn't really go full ICT until 2019. So we'll say about 6 years. Oh, facts, yeah. Yeah, and if you're trading options, you do not want consolidations, because that's, unless you're doing, I guess, spreads, you could do that. Spreads and consolidations are nice. Okay, well, we're starting to consolidate here, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap her up for the morning. We'll do a quick little recap one more time for those that may have missed it the first time. God, I'm just still salty about that. That was just a lapse in judgment. That was a bad entry here. But anyways, let's clear up some of these. We'll clear up the indicators. Move the 4 hour real quickly. So originally coming into today, we are still expecting longs, right? That's really will be the objective for the foreseeable future, is price to continue to go higher. We know we had high impact news at 10 o'clock again. So just like yesterday, we have no intention, no need to try to get in before that news. 10 o'clock, slight consolidation. We end up running out these equal lows and hitting the low of the 4 hour. Our first entry was on the first presented. As we said, that's just a bad entry, lapse in judgment there, because we knew that the new week opening gap's midpoint was here, and we had these equal lows as well as the 4 hour that we were expecting to see price trade into. So we just got in too early. We end up running out those lows, however. We then revert back above the first presented. We leave the new week opening gap, and then we continue to trade higher into yesterday's high. Once we hit yesterday's high, we give a slight retracement. We left a fair value gap in its place. That is what we used to enter on, understanding that this low here will be our protected swing low because it traded into our new week opening gap and cleared short-term liquidity. So we enter there, stop loss below the low, and then we were targeting the 4 hours consequent encroachment, which is here. But as price just kind of started consolidating, moving slowly, we just targeted the actual swing point, or excuse me, swing point paired with 5 handles. So we actually get out, we high tick that candle, yeah, I didn't realize that. Right, we get out on the high of that candle, which is clean. And then from there, price did continue to run into our objective here. As we said, if we're going to maintain bullishness, midpoint of that daily wick. And now if we still want to maintain bullishness, I think we could try to test the upper quarter level of that 4 hour fair value gap. But I will let that play out without me. How come you didn't take the short from the first presented fair value gap earlier? let's see, how can we do it from the first? Let's go back. Are you saying... I guess what short are you mentioning? This short right here? So like, is price closed below on this candle, this short? Oh, on NQ, hold up, let me look real quick. So for me, I didn't trade NQ, but as I'm looking at this, I wouldn't be trying to short this because my bias is bullish. So that's kind of where you can get confused as well, is that just because it forms doesn't mean it's going to play out. So if the underlying bias is bullish prices, these areas are going to be used as inversions, and that's what we see here, right? So for me, what I would have waited for, if I did actually want to short, I would have waited for price to trade into it and then close back below, because I'm already expecting this to become an inversion as it did. So I would have waited for confirmation, and that's how you can kind of protect yourself. And right, confirmation would look like this. We trade up into it, ideally hitting the high of it. We then close below it, and then you could use that as a short to follow price. But as we said, if we're expecting price to invert it, we don't want this fair value gap to hold bearish. Instead, we want to see what happened here. Close above, use it as support to then target higher prices. Besides just watching the charts, what else would I suggest? He's so boring to watch. I mean, I'll give you that, man. He is. Here's what I'll say. I'll give him grace in that the only reason I'm able to do what I can do here is because, right, I did listen to everything. He is very monotone, right? He can ramble a lot. He talks a lot. But what you'll find is that that's really where like the true deep understanding is going to come from. Granted, you don't need that deep of an understanding, right? You can learn the concepts, get an easy model that's simple and just do that, and that's perfectly valid. But if you're trying to learn, right, the true market narrative, the true movement of the candles, and kind of be able to read price candle by candle like I can do now, you just gotta sit through all that nonsense and listen. But aside from that, I would also say try to journal at the end of the day. ICT did release a video on that recently, called like the Storyteller series. That's something that I did every single day. So like at the end of the day, I would go in, and even if I took a bunch of losses, I would mark up the chart as if I took the winning trades, right? So like, here's a good example. So like we took a loss here. What I would do, like I would hide that, and then I would mark this up as if I took this trade, right? Because then you're building that pseudo experience. So I would have said, okay, well, we cleared a short-term low. We then get back above first presented, leaving a volume imbalance. And this is the trade that I took. All right, so I would mark it out like this, I go like that. And then I would put like an obvious target. We were targeting midpoint here, so that was our target. And then I would save a screenshot and I would like type everything that happened in here. And that's really what you need to do to like build that experience, right? So like, we'll just do it quick. I would say price ran short-term lows, turning into new week opening gap, midpoint. And I leave that there. Boom. And then you add another one over here. Price accelerated above first presented. Fair value gap leaving volume imbalance. Right, so I'm building in this experience, these fake trades. That way when I go back and look at them, I don't have like negative emotions, and it makes it seem as if, right, I was on side. And then over time, as you do this more and more, you start to actually be able to anticipate the trades. We do hold that. Let's see if we get that run up there, as we said. This should hold us, this fair value gap. It does. We paint outside the lines a little bit. That can be expected because we have a large run, but we understand the key area and price that's holding us is midpoint with the fair value gap. And now we're getting expansion. ICT does give great speeches, I'll say that. The motivational speeches, man, it gets you fired up. But yeah, I admit it, I've spent thousands of hours I've listened to every probably Twitter space he's ever had. I've legitimately watched every single YouTube video he's ever released twice. Maybe not now, but like when I was learning, right up until I would say maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. I had watched every single video in its entirety, through and through. multiple times. And that's also another thing you have to do, right? It's very monotonous, but that's where the true deep understanding comes from. Because a lot of times on the first watch over, you're going to miss things, right? Or you're not going to really see things that you would expect to see. And then once you learn more and go back to those videos, new things start to pop up. And it's just like a never ending cycle of knowledge. It's fun. But all right, everybody, we'll be good for today there. Quick look at what we have for tomorrow, high impact news. So high impact news again at 10. So a lot of high impact news at 10 o'clock this week. So same idea. We will come back tomorrow, 9:45, just before that 10 o'clock news. And we'll see if we can't continue to get some nice trades in. As far as like what we would expect in a macro sense, if you guys are going to be hanging out here and trying to still catch trades, I like this level. If we get above that level, as we said, I like the high of it. And then ultimately, I am bullish until really the foreseeable future, right? Bullish until we can get these highs. That's what I want to see in a long-term sense. Granted, we're very far ways away, but it should give us plenty of opportunities to capitalize on along the way. So yeah, we'll leave you guys with that. As we said, we'll be back tomorrow, 9:45 Eastern, just before that 10 o'clock news. And we'll see what we can get. Appreciate you guys sitting around this morning. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk tomorrow morning. Take care.